Hello, listeners. Good afternoon. Trust you're having a wonderful afternoon out there. It's been a long time with you on this show, on the Unique Show, and we're here today once again, to talk about leadership. Do not forget, Unique Show is all about leadership, and the aim and objective of this show is to educate every young person out there on the importance of leadership and the things you need to know about leadership. So today we are having a wonderful guest in the house, and somehow when I informed him about the radio program, I was like, oh, will he come? But I knew already that he's a man of the youth. He's a man who value youth. He's a man who understands the need for leadership. The need to teach all the young people. All right. So today we have our erudite professor, Professor Michael Ockham. Professor Michael Ockham is the immediate past Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, University of Calabar, and currently the Director of Alumni Affairs Directorate. And he is also the Executive Director of Resource Network, and he has impacted over 10,000 young people in Cross River State and across board. We're so delighted to have you, sir. Please, could you say hi to the people?
Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, sir. And today I have today's discussion. Could you say amazing? Yes, today we'll be talking about the wonderful, topic that young people need to know, need to understand, because as a leader growing up, you need people around you. You need someone to learn. You need someone that can carry you through the difficult times as a leader. So today our topic is attracting the right mentor. Attracting the right mentor. I'm sure in course of this discussion that you would have a lot of questions to ask our professor. So thank you for staying by and thank you for listening. And I'm sure that you will have a productive day by the time we're done with this session today. So sir,
Yes,
I wanted to just greet the people again because it's unusual, and this is the first time we're having an academia on this show.
good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon, young people. Where you're listening from? Good afternoon.
Thank you very much, sir.
Was quite brief.
Quite brief. I'm sure he's preserving a lot for the discussion, and I will just delve deep into why we're here, to discuss about the attracting the right mentor, attracting the right mentor. So, sir, the
Yes,
floor is all yours. Today I told my co-host that we will need to shut our mouths because when there's a father in the house, you just have to give him that honor to keep talking.
Exactly.
So he will even take you the whole hour for you to just talk to us as young people. We would be so glad and we'll be grateful. So, sir, could you tell us what mentor? What does it mean? What is mentor? Who is the mentor and what is mentorship?
Well, mentorship, the way I understand it, is about guidance. Yeah, mentorship is about teaching. Mentorship is also has to do with training. A mentor is necessarily someone that provides the requisite skills for you with respect to what you need to know, what you need to, the right things you need to do, and the wrong things you need to avoid. So your mentor gives you that guidance, right? So it's more about teaching. It's more about giving an example, also showing the strength. There's a strong component of strong, being a strong exemplariness of the strength of example. Because if you are guiding someone, then it's not enough for you to be theoretical about it, but there's also need for you to be very practical. You are teaching someone about humility. Let me use a practical example. Now, Chinwe is in the directorate of alumni, working in the youth hub, right? And he's there basically to be mentored. As soon as she came, I thought it was my responsibility to provide mentorship. So now, what do you do? Right. So she needed to follow me around, So she has had occasion to follow me around to some offices, and she's watching the people that are young men, how much I value relationships. So there's a very big practical aspect. You can't mentor people when you don't have any example to give. There must be something, that you have that other people can benefit from, that people can aspire, right? Aspire to be like you. When I was a young person, there were people that I wanted to aspire to be. Unfortunately, one of the persons was Tai Solari, and I was attracted to Tai Solari because he was an atheist. And as a young person, I was so stupid, though I started life in the seminary, the Catholic seminary. So atheism should not have been, something, that should come within a million-mile radius of somebody who has gone through, seminary. But there I was, and I can't tell the moment when these theistic ideas took control of my head. But when I saw that Tai Solari was an atheist, so it became like my hero. I always like to read about him, and the prayer I like to talk the way. So there was a prayer he prayed one day. He said he was at the garden asking to pray, and he said, "Oh God, if there is God, save our souls if we have souls." So one day at Malabo here, as a student, we had a meeting, and then at the end I was asked to pray. So I said, "Oh God, if there is God, save our souls. We have souls." So that's what mentorship does. But you see, I don't want to stress someone that you read about or you encounter on the pages of papers. I'd like to rather see such people as role models. I meet young people and I say, "Who is your mentor?" And they say, "My mentor is so the one big person in Port Harcourt." And I know the person. I know the person I'm talking about. I know that it would be easy for this guy, at the level where he is, it would be easy for him to get to Port Harcourt and see that individual. So I asked the question, I said, "When last did you see him?" And it turns out that, I've been trying to see him. And I just chuckled because somebody that you cannot sit down with, somebody that you can't ask questions, can't be your mentor. There has to be that proximity, that contact for you to be able to mentor by someone. And you can't call yourself a mentor of someone when the person doesn't ask you any question, the person is not coming to seek your guidance, the person doesn't seek your company. Mike Murdoch says it quite plainly. He said, "I'm not your mentor if I can't sit down with you and talk. I'm not your mentor if I don't have an opportunity to correct you." Mentorship is not what people think. And your mentor is not your friend. Your mentor is not your benefactor. You see, your friend loves you the way you are, but your mentor loves you too much to leave you the way you are. So I usually test. I have a test, a very simple test to determine people that want me to mentor them, because there's a rush. Young people like to come and say, "I want to be like you. I want you to mentor me." And then, as time goes on, and then I say, "Yeah, but this thing you are doing, it's not right." And that's the last time you see them, because they don't want anyone to correct them. And then they say, "Oh," then the next day they see you somewhere, they say, "Oh, that's my mentor." And I just laugh. A lot of young people deceive themselves. See, if you have a mentor, And if you call yourself a mentor, then there should be people that you are sitting down with, people that you are interacting, periodically. You sit down with them, or some fora. I have a mentorship college where I interact with a lot of young people, right? So in that platform, they can ask questions, they can react, to things that are posed. Those of them that want to reach me individually can do so. So that is where mentorship takes place. So, and then but if you want to have a mentor, then it should be someone that's accessible. Accessibility is so critical to this idea of mentorship, to the project or program of mentorship. So if somebody doesn't give you time, if somebody is not there for you to see, if somebody is not there for you to talk to, if somebody is not available for you to call and say, I have this issue, I have that issue, and what do I do? So by that definition, in my own case, I have just figuratively speaking, there are probably thousands of people that see me as a mentor. But for me, in practical terms, I know that just very few. And I know them because they will say, somebody just came to me and said this, please, what do I do? And I have this idea. I need your guidance, I need your input. Who I'm interested in marrying, receiving guidance from them. Don't ask me the question. I'm with you 24/7, or we meet quite often, or you can call me any day to let me know that there is a kind of naughty situation you are in, and you need to know which is the best step to take, and so on and so forth. That's not mentorship.
Okay.
So I don't know if I've gone too much.
Amazing.
That's very insightful.
Well, thank you so much. Do not forget, this is Unit Show on Unicorn Radio International 103.5 FM. And we have in the house our erudite professor, one time or the immediate past Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, and the Executive Director of Life Resource Network. He's also a father to many, and he has led over 10,000 young people out there who are succeeding in different industries, different fields of endeavors. So, sir, you mentioned something. You said, most times when you encounter young people, you discover that they do not differentiate the difference between role model and a mentor. So I wanted to throw more light on the difference between a role model. Like you said, you had to copy what the man you were. Your role model.
He was an atheist.
He was an atheist.
I was an upcoming atheist.
So could you distinguish between a mentor and a role model?
Okay, let me put it this way, for ease of understanding. Your mentor, right? I mean, mentor.
Yes.
Your mentor is somebody who is physically available
Okay.
to you. Somebody that you have a human connection with.
Okay.
So there is proximity,
Okay.
there is contact, right? There is communication. There's contact, there's communication, there is connectivity. You like the 3 C's if you want. All right. Now, a role model is someone who you may never have met, but happens to embody the kind of values, kind of qualities that you admire, or he is doing something that you are looking forward to doing in future, right? And all through your life, you may never even meet him, but you read what he says, and you want to do some of the things that he does. Now let me give you. Can I give you a few examples?
Yes, of course.
So in my own case, now I had someone who was like a role model to me, and he was Bill Clinton, right? Bill Clinton, president, former president of the United States. He was a role model because I just liked his political style. His political style coincided with the kind of life I wanted to live, my public life I wanted to live, because his own philosophy was people-based. He had a people-based philosophy. And his body language was that he loved to be with people, right? And he had great political skills, which had to do with condescension. So these were qualities that I admired. So when I saw them in him, whatever he went to, he tried to condescend, he tried to blend. I loved that. And he loved his wife. He honored his wife. I loved that about him. And you remember when his wife was contesting, for Senate, he kept saying, "My candidate, my candidate." And when she lost, he said, "My candidate, won, as won." When she lost the primaries, to Trump, she said, my candidate lost. So there are things I just love about him. And though I know people will say, you also love the Lewinsky matter. No. For me, the Lewinsky matter just constituted an avoidable glitch in his otherwise stellar career, because if you remove Lewinsky from Bill Clinton's life, then he would be a quintessential paragon, of political virtue. All right, then other people that I looked at and I said, no, that I just love the way this person is, and so on and so forth. So that people like that, you just admire them. In Calabar, in the area of marriage, there's Rex Fubara. Now, I admired the way Rex Fubara related with his wife. I admired the freedom he gave her to be herself. And I just said, oh, I'd like to be like this. But I've never sat down any day, I never sat down until he passed with him to even tell him, that I admire the way he, and he probably doesn't even know, and he has passed on now. But I kept on, whenever we're in the public functions, and I saw him, and I would be watching closely to see, how he would live with the wife. And there are times that the wife is a very emotional person, very spiritual, emotional person. So she would lie on the floor to pray, and he will lie across, and he will shift, away from where he's standing to give the wife room to lie down. And I just admired all that. And I said, look, this is how I would like to treat my wife. So those are role models. You don't talk to them, you don't discuss with you, you hardly interact, but you just love something about them and you want to be like. So I began to copy, I took some of Bill Clinton's political style, and then I took some of, and then even in public life, it's not only Clinton was like a role model. Look at other people. I look at people like Lee Kuan Yew. I read Lee Kuan Yew's book, and I said, if I ever become a leader, this is the kind of leader that I would like to be. And then Awolowo in Nigeria, before people start saying, so you don't have any role model. Julius Nyerere, another role model. I tried to even replicate his Ujama, his village polytechnic. I came up with my own variant of what I call Bamenka. Bamenka means artisan area, and I brought them together, tried to, do something in line with what Nyerere did in Tanzania concerning the project, the village polytechnic project. So those are role models. You pick some from here, put in your Godskin bag. You pick examples all around the world. But when it's a mentor is like a father. Mentor is like a counselor.
Wow.
Yeah. A mentor is like a guide. So he drops a carrot and stick approach. He doesn't hate you, but when you do something that's wrong, he hates what you do and tries to correct it. A lot of people don't survive me, but I've always said that anyone who survives me will succeed anywhere in the world. And I met a young man recently, and he said to me, that young man, during the last election, he donated some buses to the Ayadi campaign. He's a young man, I don't know why I've forgotten his name. And he said to me, he said, Prof, all of us who listened to you 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he said, we are all successful now. I'm saying this with all humility to the glory of God. But I wish I knew the young man's name, you know, but he donated some buses. He's running a big business now, you know, from the small, what they call it now, food on the table,
Yeah.
allowance he was getting. They were save money and they use as collateral to, you know, start a big business. And it's become a big business now. And there are not people like that who, you know, keep coming to me with stories. There's a young man today who is bottling kunu, and I think that's the only bottled kunu in Africa. And he got that idea after I attended one of my programs at Marian Hotel. The hotel at, not Marian Hotel, the hotel at MCC. What's that hotel again?
Channel View?
No, the one after Channel View. So, you know, and I said something about enthusiasm and something, and then he said, as I was speaking, he got the inspiration that he could bottle kunu, and he started doing it, and the first time he took his bottles of kunu and said, his slippers caught, and he had to even, you know, proceed to the destination with one slippers. Little slippers, you know.
Enthusiasm.
But today, you know, you can't meet up with the demand for bottled kunu. I've even ordered it, you know, in some public function that I've organized, you know. So we have other young people also. I have many of such stories, and you know, if I'm going to tell you those stories, the time won't even be enough because they are all over. People that the former chairman of the president of the Prosperity Youth Council is in the US now. What's that his name? And he told me specifically, he said, sir, it was after listening to you that I got the inspiration to go and contest to be the president of Cross River State, the National Youth Council, of the National Youth Council Cross River State. He's in the US now. What's that his name? Many of your listeners will even know him. If you know him, he was the former president of the National Youth Council Cross River State branch. You call him, and he will confirm the story for you. Everything I tell you, you know, I can give you names, and you can verify. You know. So this is what I understand to the mentorship, and it's not something, you know, to play with. It's not something to joke with. I have a young man. He's now working in this university. He comes to me and he says, "Sir, please just choose any restaurant of your choice." And I'm not saying that you should do that for me. I'm just telling you a story. I said, "Choose any restaurant of your choice." I looked at him and I knew that he wasn't the kind of guy that I could take to Metro, to Transcorp. I just sized him up and knew, no, don't mention Transcorp, you know. So I took him to one cheap eatery, you know, and said, "Add order for anything." And I still checked looked at him, and I realized that I should not be too ambitious about what to order. So I just ordered for some, you know, very modest things to eat. And he said, "Sir, just talk to me." Those are mentees. You can say you can see you're a mentor to such an individual. And he sat there, and I just started talking, and he'll be writing. I just started talking, and then he'll be writing. You know, today he's an author, right, of books. You know, and to the glory of God, he's doing well.
Amazing.
That's the truth. You know?
Amazing.
So all those people who come to me like that, they hardly make mistakes. And please, I'm not being conceited, and you know, this is radio. I don't know who is listening, so I have to be very, very scientific and surgical about what I say. Almost all the people that I gave advice not to do certain, and advice not to do certain things, and when I did them, almost all of them came back with sad tales. Yeah, because I tell you, look, if I say don't do something, I have the benefit of my legal knowledge. I have the benefit of years of experience, a young person, you know, growing up, you know, who learned by the mistakes that I made. Have spiritual, also grace. You can't afford to play with it. You can't afford to joke with it. And most of them, you know, just you know how these young people are. They just say, you know, they just wave it off, and then they come back and I have a young man who misbehaved a few many months ago, and he wouldn't want to listen. But it didn't take 8 months. He came back on his knees. So, and this happens all the time.
Amazing.
So that's a mentee, that you try to mentor who rebelled, and then he came back and realized that your mentorship was invaluable. So we've had those experiences. It's been an exciting life. I have not made billions of naira, but I've enjoyed my life, because virtually on a daily basis, God gives me the opportunity to influence a young person's life, to chart a direction for someone, and to solve a problem for someone who has made a mistake in judgment. And I say, no, you shouldn't have done this way, you should have done it this way. And they go and do it the right way, and they come back with results. And the grace of God, that God has blessed me, with those kind of stories.
Very amazing.
Oh my God. So this is all Tripod 5 of Frederica Radio International on the Unique Show. If you want to be a part of this conversation, call us on 090-6988-0789. You can also give us a WhatsApp message on 0809 444 058. We're looking forward to your input and to your questions. If not even an input, we're looking forward to your questions. Yes, because our guest just established that, as he quoted Mike Moodle, that the questions are seed for knowledge. So you have to ask questions out there as a young person so you can know better. So, sir, we would have gone on a very short break. So, in 1 minute's time, we'll come back. So, have a wonderful break out there. Thank you. A wonderful erudite professor in the house, Professor Michael Ockham. Professor Michael Ockham is the immediate past Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration, University of Calabar, and he is the Executive Director of Life Resources Network. And he's currently, or he has impacted over 10,000 young people across the world, across River States, Nigeria, Africa, Europe, around the world. And we're so pleased to have him here. So, sir, once again, you're welcome.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so, sir, let me go straight to our next question. At what point in your life did you realize you needed a mentor?
I thought that's not an easy question to ask. In fact, I don't even think that it is an appropriate question. Yeah, because mentorship is not something you as an individual. Mentorship is something that you can you can decide with deliberateness. But somehow, for those of us like who are pioneers, pioneers like by pioneers and me, that we hardly had people who were available for us to even ask questions. You know, people were unwilling. Those who had gone ahead of us were unwilling to even spend a moment to come down and say, look, you should have done it this way. There are a lot of things that I did which I know they just reveled in seeing me making mistakes. So that's why I said, as pioneers, that we did. But for you, today, especially you had your teaching, nobody taught me anything about mentorship. I never attended any seminar on mentorship. I was just a young person who was just praying to survive till the following day. At Balabo here, as a student, you just are looking for how to eat one meal a day, right? So what time are you going to have to think about somebody who is mentoring you? Those ideas didn't come to us, and those seminars of mentorship didn't we saw, you know. So it was a case of survival. So as an individual, I don't think that I can point to you that eureka moment where I say, oh, I need a mentor now. But when I became born again, I had role models in the church. I did youth service at Ibadan, and I was privileged to come across a man, Pastor Jerry Sule, who took me under his wings. And that was the first person that came to my life who had the effrontery, who had the courage, if I may say so, for lack of a better expression, to say, look, we're not doing this thing right. And I thought that he didn't like me. Because at that initial time, we had a lot of skeptics. You're being too hard on me. But he would give me money. He would say, and then he would still send me. I was youth copper because I wanted to grow spiritually. I decided to serve with the church. I started with Deeper Life, Deeper Christian Ministry, and I was handed over to him by the state overseer. I had just given my life to Christ, so I was eager. My priority then was to know God more and to grow spiritually. So the state was handed me over to him because he was the state coordinator of the deeper of the campus fellowship, the state campus fellowship. So and he will say, go to Oshogo and conduct Bible study. Go to Elisha and teach something. Go to this. There was virtually, I don't know, there are not many places I didn't go in Oyo State. And he was sending me, but at the same time, he would say, you are not doing this thing right. So it took me some time to realize that this man didn't hate me, that I embraced him. But it's not as if there's some moment, some eureka where I would say, oh, this is when I realized, but it was the process, of time. And eventually, today, he still remains my mentor. He's the only one in this world today who can tell me not to do something, and I won't do it till tomorrow. And I told my wife when I got married, I said, there's only one person that you can report me to if I do something that you don't like. And I told him the name. I told her the name of the person. And I said, if you report me to him, I will never question you. And since we got married, she has reported me. Look at what your son is doing. And then so I will know I've been reported when I get a phone call saying, what did you do yesterday? Or what happened in the house? Or why did you do something? Then I will say, I've been reported. And then he will go ahead and say, well, you shouldn't have done it like this, and this is how you should have done it. And that's it. And my wife will not know whether except he tells her, otherwise she won't know from me. Or except if I go play for her and say, oh, my father has called me. Then she will not say, okay, because he has reported. So that's the benefit. I have derived so much. And let me tell you, if I hadn't been guided by that mentorship, I think I would have been a shipwreck of my life today. Yes. Because I grew up in a stubborn street. I grew up with a frivolous street. So when this man, this Pastor Jerry Sule, God used him, to be able to hold me by the leash. One advantage I had with him was that God also used to tell him things about me. When I'm taking medication, my father will call me and say, "Son, you are not well. I saw you taking medication." When there's sometimes that I have a problem with my wife, and my wife hasn't reported, but he calls me and says, "Son, what's the problem in your home?" I said, what? I don't know, because it's something which I didn't think was consequential. There was a day I shouted at one of my boys on the road, and my father called me and said, "Son, what did you do?" I told her, I said, "I have not done anything." He said, "That's all right." Then he called me again and said, "Son, what happened? Tell me what happened." And I said, okay. After about 3 calls, I said, I think, okay, that is like I shouted at Moses. And he said, "All right." God said that you shouldn't do that. He said, "Don't shout at anybody in the public, because he said that he has anointed your lips." So that's the kind of, I've enjoyed mentorship. That's why I encourage young people. Say, don't run away, from people that try to shape you. Correction is grievous, and the human ego doesn't like to accept that I can do anything wrong. But once you can outgrow, that devious propensity, and you can accept the fact that you can do wrong, and that someone can tell you that you've done wrong, and you can accept it and actually be grateful for that, I can tell you that your life is going to be better. The reason why, with the grace of God, I saw you giving her a note. I don't know if that's to say but the reason why I'm able to counsel people is because I've received counsel. And the reason why I can correct people is because I have been corrected. I've made so many mistakes, and I've been corrected. So when I see young people do certain things, and I say, "Don't do that," and they think that I'm old-fashioned, think that this is how we do things these days. So I just keep quiet, because they're certainly going to come back, and they're certainly one day they're going to find that path that they took was the wrong path, because we took that same path, and then we knocked our heads on the rock, and it was the blood and the pain of knocking the head that made us realize that we were on the wrong path, because these spiritual rocks don't stand out with jagged teeth and parts. They are hidden. But I realized that life has no go areas. I realized that in life, there are clearly laid out paths that you must walk in. And if you don't walk in those paths, you are certainly going to make a shipwreck of your life. But that's because I had some experiences, wrong experiences. I was corrected. My parents, my mother also, would use the whip. I treasure my mother's memory, because when I went for youth service, if not for my mother, I don't know what else, because she would force me to go to the farm. My father would never bother you because, to go to the farm. But my mom, you must carry the basin on your head, you must carry the cassava on your head, you must carry the yams on your head, and I hated it. But my mother would walk behind me, and I'll be in front with her stick, and I'll be crying, and then she will be behind me to make sure that I'm moving to the farm. And when we come back, the same thing. She didn't care how much I cried, but I treasure that experience today, because that's how I can survive anywhere. during your service, I could cook. Even today, that's why my wife is a minister. She travels a lot, but I don't care how long she stays because I can get into the kitchen. I know how to cut the onions. I know how to cut the tomato. I know how to do the so at least I can do something that will keep me that will survive until she comes back.
Yeah.
At times I can even cook for her. There's one vegetable soup that we used to cook at youth service. When I gave it to them in the house, they started asking you, cook that your vegetable soup for us. No, nothing special about it. Just cut onions, cut vegetable, cut everything, finish it, just dump it into it. and it comes out, yes. And they were asking me if they had, you know. So I think I've been blessed.
Amazing.
I think I've been blessed.
Amazing. That's great. So thank you so much. Before I called on the ladies to question to give us their question, I want to say that to our listeners that this should be a opportunity that I'm sharing my mentor with you.
Oh, please. Is that right?
Yeah, because I can remember some years back when I started driving. Today I'm becoming a professional driver because you always say do it the right way because it is only when you do it the right way you become a good driver. You know, you always hit me and hit me very hard and today I'm very confident in driving.
Yeah, today I don't have to, you know, be worried
Yeah.
when he's driving. Because I can now see that he has some confidence and, you know, instead of fighting with the steering, you know, he now knows how to swivel the steering. And so gradually, I told him that it will take you time to be a good driver, but eventually you are going to be one.
Yeah.
And it's turning out to be
Like, thank you very much.
So he wanted to do it right. But I was insisting, I was ready to make myself a ball
Yes.
by insisting that he did the right thing. Yeah. So today he has improved.
Thank you very much.
But I've discovered one thing with him, that he is ready to be mentored.
Thank you, sir. Thank
At
you.
least I can say.
Thank you so much. So, Favour, the floor is yours.
Okay, good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon.
So I think I've learned a lot so far, and I would like to ask. Sometimes the people we see and feel we need as mentors, based on the experiences they've already had, that we feel maybe we are going through this part in our life and we will need their advices. Sometimes they are not people you can get access to easily, except maybe by the help of someone you're close to, in close proximity with them. And even sometimes they are not even in your location, but maybe by virtue of the internet, you've been able to look up their life, study their stories. So how do you get to reach out to these people and have them mentor you?
Chingwe or Life can answer that question because I dealt with that before you came. Yeah. So that's not your mentor. That's probably a role model that you have. I just admire him, and there are some aspects of his life that you would like to imitate. Such people, you don't need to crave for access because you can always get at what they have written and so on and so forth. So be satisfied with just getting information about them because it might not be possible for you, to meet them one-on-one. There are people like that I would have paid anything, to be able to sit down. I would pay anything to be able to sit down with my Mudok for 5 minutes. But I know that will not be, so he's about 80 now. I wasn't privileged to have met him and to know about him when I was a much younger person, when he was much younger. But so it's going to be difficult. So what do? I get his materials. And I asked Chinwe to listen to at least one my Mudok message every week, and so on and so forth. So I can do that now, but I am no more dreaming about being able to meet him. But every information that I need about my Mudok, I can get it. So and I'm contented with that, even though I may not be able to meet him. I would have, paid anything, to meet certain individuals. Even someone like Bill Clinton, I could pay anything just to sit with him because it's just like I find that we share many personality traits. Just with Clinton, me, Michael Otoma, and Clinton, we share many personality traits. And it's someone I would have loved to meet, but I don't think that might be possible. But I'm just contented with reading about him, looking at him with distance, and then trying also to incorporate some aspects of his political philosophy, and modus operandi, into my lifestyle. And it helps me. So you pick from here, put in your ghost screen bag, and you articulate it, and then see how you can incorporate it into the gravamen, of your own ideology. Am I saying something wrong?
No, sir, you're probably on point. It's just, I'm just trying to see if I can catch up with dictionary.
You said that online.
Absolutely. All right, sir. How can young people proactively seek out mentors who can guide them? Because
Well, if you want a mentor, study the person. I have people who say, "Sir, I studied you for 1 year before I decided to come and appoint you as the father of my ministry." And people like that. They said that one of the guys, I don't want to mention them, but they may not like to be mentioned. Yeah, it was a big, he said it took me 1 year to decide that, he said that watched me on TV, heard me on radio, met me, and then decided that this is kind of person that would like to come and be my mentor. And another pastor also. So there are people like that. You study the people and find out if they like you. Find out if they also find you admirable. If there are people that are concerned about you, then you can go to them and say, look, I think that I want you to guide me. I have people that come and I say, well, my own mentorship starts in the church. I'll receive you as my mentee in the church. I give you a mentorship certificate, and then I induct you into my mentorship. Then I pray for you. Then we start. And there's no prefabricated curriculum, for mentorship. It's as we go on.
okay.
Because you are probably not going to be able to know what happens to you tomorrow. But as things come up, you ask questions. You read books from it, and so I say, okay, ask me questions. And one asked me a question. This one I read. Because if you read something, I can give you a practical illustration. I can tell you people who have practically passed through that experience. If I haven't passed through it myself, but I'm in a position where I can tell you, oh yes, some other person, this so and so person had an experience. So you can now relate what you have just read to a practical scenario, right? And it becomes very, very sweet. Right?
Amazing, sir.
So
Thank you so much, sir.
Do me a favor, you don't want to, you ask me something.
Yes.
Yeah, I do. I actually do have a question.
Okay.
Okay, please. We
Right.
have 5
We
minutes.
have
Yeah.
very limited time.
Yeah.
Okay, sir, thank you so much for this insightful. It's been very, very insightful,
Okay.
especially for me. So my question now is, considering the fact that as a mentor, like if you mentor people,
Yes, I do.
you have access to a lot of people. Are there any criteria you look out for in getting mentees? So if, for example, I want to be mentored by you and I approach you, would you give me an opportunity based on certain criteria that you see in me? And what are those criteria that we could have?
No. I'm ready to mentor anyone. I'm ready to mentor a demon.
Oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, who comes to say, look,
So straight.
I have served Satan for so long, and I don't want to serve Satan anymore. I want you to mentor. I can do that. But like I said, it's not for me to determine how long the mentorship relationship is going to last. They're the one to determine. You see, and my Bulldog has told me everything I need to know. I don't need Yeah, so I can't be confused. I will know whether you want me to mentor me from what my bulldog has taught me. Right. And my bulldog says that the first criteria is, are you ready to follow my instructions? That's all. And once the individual, if you have asked me a question and you are not tendentious about it, you are not presumptuous, why did you ask me? Whether you're going to do something, and I told you this how to do it, and you went and did it the other way. So they're not ready for mentorship. Right? Yeah. So you have to demonstrate the disposition of the willingness to be mentored. We need a mentor. And people mistake mentorship. They feel they always have a mentor that you must not be asking for money. Mentorship today is, I finally found somebody who is an ATM. And they missed the point in time because okay, let me tell you of one of my mentees. He came around and said, I wanted me to mentor him. Never asked me for any money. But one day, the American embassy came to town. 8 of them, 8 members of the American embassy came to town and then they were to have dinner in the evening. And my name got on they needed 8 persons to have dinner with them. And my name got on the list. I don't know how my name got on that list. But I suspect that at least one woman this one, I think she must be the one. The church is in the theater department in Lincoln here. So I got to the dinner, and then the following day they had a program at the museum, and I was given 5 minutes to speak on Martin Luther Day. And then I just called this young man. I said, "Come, where are you?" And of course, he ran down immediately. I introduced him to the Black American diplomat, the African American diplomat of Japan, and what he led another. And that guy became a member of a group of 13 African young leaders who were invited, by the United States government, for leadership program in the United States that lasted 3 weeks. All expenses paid. They were guests of the U.S. government. But this is a young man who didn't ask me for any money. But he ended up being a guest of the U.S. government. And they had the opportunity to meet with Obama, one-on-one, because they had one young Kuwaitan, and then there was a Kenyan junior minister on that trip. And he's still in touch with them till today.
Amazing.
Yes, he's still in touch with them. They call themselves, they have a name they call themselves, because it's a program they do every year. They bring young upcoming leaders. And when he came back from that trip, that he formed an organization that is about the biggest grassroots youth movement in Crosswell State today. But he didn't ask me for money. But your people feel, give me money. Okay, the young man that is doing Kunu today, how much did I give him? Bottled Kunu today. He just listened to me, and I never mentioned Kunu once. But when you are talking and you have the Spirit of God will be speaking to people. And that young man left that meeting and said, "Sir, I left that meeting and I went and started bottling Kunu. Today you can't meet with the demand bottling Kunu."
Wow, thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. Wow, it just looked like we should stay here, the next 3 hours, but unfortunately, we're exhausted at time. But sir, before we leave in 1 minute, could you just advise young people out there? Yes, as a father, as a mentor.
Well, I have a million things I could have said, but if I have to pick one thing to say at this time, at this moment, is that as a young person coming up, it's important for you to try and imbibe some element of sobriety. Sobriety just helps you to be humble and keep focus and endeavor to learn. Just don't be too presumptuous. Just somehow just be sober. Sobriety will enable you to be humble, and then will help you to learn and just take things easy. Right? There is no